Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Frank. Top left, that's Gary Groob. Top right, Jason Crosbie. Gary and I host this program. Mr. Jason Crosbie is a player and a coach, and we're going to dig into his brain and figure out everything he knows about lacrosse. And we're going to be really smart after this is done, Jason. Are you going to help me keep my word?
I will try. Yes, very much
That's
so. I will
good.
try.
That's good enough for
I will
me.
do my best, like I always do.
Gary already told me how smart you are, so I know we're good. So I know already how good we are.
Well, thank
And I
you.
really appreciate you doing this. Take the time to speak to our lacrosse fans about your perspective on lacrosse. I really appreciate it.
No problem whatsoever.
All right. So the first question we always ask, because it's the most important thing that you can ask, how did you pick up the stick?
How did I pick up a stick? Okay. Well, I grew up in old school Bowmanville and Clarington where we didn't have lacrosse at all. So I was a baseball, hockey guy for the first 12, 13 years of my life. And I didn't even know lacrosse really existed. Um, it was just in Whitby. It was never over where I was. So I grew up pretty much down the street from Rickard Arena, um, and playing hockey in Bowmanville. A guy named Steve Beblois moved to Bowmanville when I was 13 years old, and he started playing hockey with me and me, my dad, and his dad, Bob Debois, who was a phys ed teacher in Oshawa somewhere. They hooked up a little bit and became friends and talked to my dad about lacrosse. And my dad was like, I don't know what lacrosse is, and kind of told me that I'd probably be good at it and maybe I want to come out. And that's the time where I was sort of getting out of baseball, sort of, and needed a new challenge. So I figured, why not? And I went out and tried out for the band. I think I started band at 13, 14 years old is when I started. Um, my head coach was, I'm sure you guys know, Neil Armstrong was my first coach. And I went out and I was an athlete. I was a pretty high level hockey player, and picking the game up was really easy for me. So I went out to the tryouts and made the team. My first year, never played. He picked me, um, and then from there, I grew a love for the game, like just like most people do when they start. It kind of was exactly what the game that I needed, and I was really good at it. I very good hand-eye coordination, was very physical, was loved the sport, loved the hitting, loved the slash, loved all that, and loved scoring goals. And um, I kind of fell in love with it at that point, and it just kind of flew from there. So yeah, I never picked up a stick till I was like 13, 14 years old, and it just went from there. And what a life it's been in lacrosse.
See, you were right about Jason, Gary. You went and answered my second question without me asking. Good job, Jason. I really
You're
appreciate that.
welcome.
But I got another question for you, though.
Sure.
Do you know what it
Yes.
is? You read my mind? No, I'll kidding aside. Okay, the transition now. You go from being a player. Obviously, you love the game. You love the contact.
Yeah.
And usually, uh, when you love the game so much, one of the things that keeps you in it, and this is just an assumption, I want you to tell me how you feel about this,
Yeah.
is being in the locker room, which is why being a coach is so good. It's one of the benefits of being a coach.
Yeah. So you're asking like how's the locker room? Is that the
Yeah.
question?
Well, how much of what you love about lacrosse still is there because you're a coach?
Oh, it's everyone knows, and you can talk to anyone in NHL, NBA, ML. It's the locker rooms that are the key to everything. You know, you live with these guys for all summers, all winters, and the locker room is sort of a prestigious, sacred place in any sport, and lacrosse is no different. Um, that locker room, you get to delve into so many different things with kids, with your teammates, and so on. And you get to know so many people, and that's where relationships are formed. Whether it be coaching or playing or whatever, like that locker room's a sacred place. And anyone that you talk to that has a locker room or grew up or played in any sport has a locker, like that is the big, you know, and that's where you find the love and you keep relationships, and those relationships that I've formed for years from those locker rooms and from those teams are the ones I cherish today.
Yeah, it's a different role, but you still get a lot of satisfaction from it. More about it's all teamwork. Whether you're a coach or a player, you're a team, and that's I think one of the greatest feelings about sports and what makes sports so great.
Yeah, it's the team aspect is fabulous. It's a brotherhood. It's going to war with those guys, and even if you're coaching, you're still your ebbs and flows for coaching are right attached to those kids and attached to those players, regardless. So whether you're playing or coaching, you're still in it, and I love it, and I still do it to this day.
Great. Okay, Gary.
All right. What do you remember most about your time with the Gales as a player?
As a player, I never played for the Gales as a player.
Oh, okay. In that case,
No,
as a coach.
I played Whitby. As a coach, I coached the Gales. I played Whitby Junior High.
Okay. Being part of the Gales organization, though, the culture around it, what was the most important thing that you strive for and try and instill in your players?
Well, obviously, there's the family honor, pride, tradition part, right? That is sort of a staple there. My years with the Gales were my formative, coaching, learning what it takes to be a good coach, what it takes to be uh, a good person, and how to develop young talent. Um, I can't express enough, the the job that Doug did for me, um, and the rest of the coaches in developing what I am today for sure. Um, but just junior B is not junior A. It's trying to get those kids to the next level, right?
Mhm.
That's your job is to get those kids to the next level and to keep playing and getting at the highest level. I don't even know how many NLL guys I had um, on my teams, but I know it's in the teens for sure. I know one year I had 7 or 8 NLL guys on my team, especially in that 2009. I had, but it's just developing their skills and getting them to understand what it takes to make that jump, because every
Right.
jump is a big one, right? From B to A,
Yep.
A to major, major to NLL. There's jumps there that they have to go through, but
Hmm.
the Gales is just the way it operates, and it started with Doug, and it started with the organization that you are one. We are one. We are going to war as one. You know, we're a pack of wolves going into war, and I just loved every minute of it. It was 5 minutes down from my house, and to see the alumni and the older guys come and watch and be proud of what was happening, and what was being put on the floor, and how they held themselves outside of the floor, and so on and so forth. That's
Yep.
what made, I think, me the most proud, is their acknowledgement that this is Gales lacrosse from when we were playing in the '60s and '70s, right? And
Sure.
and I love that, and I still have many friendships with those older guys, um, to this day, and it was a
Yep.
great experience for sure.
Right. When you were in junior, when was the aha moment? There's always that aha moment that I can do this. This is what I want to do with my life. I can make this.
I got, oh, I forget. I was playing junior A, so I started playing junior A in, I don't even know, 89 to 94 or something like that.
Hmm.
In there, I think. Um, it was the time where I had to go up. I don't remember exactly the year, but I got called up. So Pete Vipon came, and asked and said, "Jay, we're going to bring you up." I'm like, "Okay." And I think that was the year when Gary Gate was on the team and Derek Keenan, and we
Hmm.
beat. They were down 3-1 to Brampton, and Derek Keenan broke his thumb or something, like that, and they needed a lefty. And I went up, and of course I'm playing in Brooklyn Arena, and Gary Gates, my left, like that's my running mate on the left side, and I'm a junior kid. So I think that was definitely an aha moment for me,
Right.
and having Gary talk to me a little bit and saying, "Listen, if I pass you the ball, you better catch it." I was like, "Oh, okay. I bet
Right.
that's how I catch it." And I did, and I think I had 9 goals in the 4 games because they would just double Gary and leave me alone. They're like,
Right.
this kid's not gonna, right?" And that was when I kind of stepped into that. Okay, I could do this, and I could do this pretty well, and let's keep going. And they were down 3-1, and we came all the way back and beat Brampton 4-3. And then we had to go play Six Nations and got beat 4-0. But that's where they had Brian Shanahan was on defense, and they had Miles General, and they had that big team, Tavares and all that. And that was a really aha moment too, like playing against those guys. Like, oh, okay, I got some work to do, but it was a really great experience, and I think that was my aha moment for sure.
Right. How different do you think the Ontario junior game is now compared to when you played in the late 80s, early 90s?
Um, how it is like the junior game today?
Yeah,
It's
compared
it's
to
so
when
much faster. Like it's obviously so much faster. Then obviously it was a time when technology was coming in, so the wood sticks and plastic sticks were coming in, right?
Mhm.
Where the game just became faster, and obviously the kids in their development and the way they train and the way they do stuff now makes the game a lot faster. I think it could be a lot faster. Like when I
Mhm.
was coaching the Gales, we ran and ran, and I had a 6-6-6 system going, and we pushed the ball and pushed the ball. And I think it's a little slower now, which I would like it a little faster. Guys get up the floor a little more, but
Mhm.
um, you could see the transition of that, and it's the athletes. They're all athletes now, and
Yeah.
it makes the game somewhat chaotic a little bit. There's not a lot of like slower pick and roll game stuff. It's really like because of the defenses and the way they do things, it's a little bit chaotic at some points. But um, yeah, just the athletes and the speed of the game is just so much faster.
Right. Right. Now you wound up going to a St. Lawrence University. You were primarily a box guy. Was it a big transition to go and all of a sudden play NCAA field?
No, I played for the Blue Knights for um, Jeff McComb
Hmm.
and Terry Lloyd and stuff for the game um, with Blue Knights. I also played high school field, so I had a little bit of field, and we were pretty good. We won, I think we won 4 national championships in a row
Right.
with the Blue Knights. So I wasn't going in just as a box guy, um, but mostly, yeah, it was a huge difference from where I was playing to going to St. Lawrence, and I'm truly blessed to be able to have that opportunity. My parents and Coach Lee, um, he took a chance on a scrawny little kid from Bowmanville and Oshawa that ended up being a pretty good move for me and kind of made me think of my future and so on and so forth. So it was a pretty awesome experience for sure.
Right. Well, I think you sell yourself a little short because some of the accolades is a couple of All American uh, honors, as well as Intercollegiate Lacrosse Association, first team All Conference, Upstate Collegiate Athletic Association on 3 occasions. Yeah, I think you gained a lot of respect while you were doing that,
Yeah.
and putting that thing in the idea of blueprinting your offense opposed to by feel. I think you took to that rather well.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and credit to Coach Lee and Coach Mahoney who they kind of swapped halfway during my years. They gave me a full autonomy to do whatever because they never really had a Canadian kid there that could do the kind of things I did, and I really never came off the field. Honestly, I
Right.
took face-offs there. I played midi attack. I did a lot of everything. Uh, and it was an awesome growth for me, and definitely one that kind of made the transition to going NLL stuff a lot easier because working out and just the high level of play that we played there. Um, was just phenomenal in my like I said, my growth and development
Right.
as a player there, and also intellectually too. Like I wasn't necessarily the smartest kid growing up, but I learned that the hard work you put into anything, you come out with what you put in. So I worked really hard at my studies there, and developed a kind of a keen sense of the game more, film more, and just became a better person intellectually there.
Right.
And it helped me for the next 20 years of my life for sure.
Sure.
Being there and learning from really smart professors and people in psychology and sociology of sport and so on and so forth of how people do things and why they do it and so on. So
Right.
St. Lawrence, I
What
can't,
helped you? What helped you the most in being able to play field? Why do you think you were so good at it?
just I was I'm very crafty around the net and very smart with the ball, and not a lot of turnovers, and I see the floor, I see things very before they, that whole adage that you see the play before it starts or before it goes. I'm very good at that. I can see a cut behind, and I just, again, I had a really good teammates around me there that made my life really easy. Like, field lacrosse, you're dodging, and there's a double or a slide, and then you gotta find the holes. I'm pretty good at finding holes in small spaces, and if you pass the ball in an area, I can catch it and throw it in the net pretty much, or I
That
can see someone going to the net and doing that. So
Sure.
all of that, and then obviously the smart people that were there that taught me some things within the game, really helped me further my career for sure.
those tight spaces helped in the transition from field to NLL.
Big time, because there's not a lot of space.
Yeah, it's like
Zero. There's not a lot of space.
Well, it brings us to you getting drafted in '98 by the Ontario Raiders, and of course, that's the little known little thing with the Toronto Rock. You didn't make the team there, but it brings me to my favorite question: is your very first training camp, was it what you envisioned?
With Toronto,
Yeah.
or with my signing my first contract, because it was pretty good. That story's pretty good too.
Well, let's do
Um,
that.
so again, I got drafted by them. My first training camp was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I learned lots. Um, they had a really, really good team developed there. They had Colin on the left side. They had Gill on the left side. They had someone else. They had a pretty stacked lineup on the left side,
Yeah.
and their offense was pretty stacked either, right? So so that year I sat as a practice player and watched and developed, and then the next year they released me. So, but that training camp was great. So, moving on to the story though, so I got released and I didn't stop. I was like, okay, so where do I go from here? So I phoned up a good friend of mine, Brad MacArthur, and said he was going to talk to Paul Day about bringing me in for a tryout. So that weekend, we went. My dad and I drove to Syracuse on the Friday night and tried out for Syracuse. They had a training camp. Um,
Mhm.
I left there because it was not very good, and I went down to Rochester and had a tryout on Saturday night and Sunday morning with Rochester in 2000, I think, in there. And I made the most of my opportunity there. I got to play with Junior, and then as and we play, and you're smart with Junior, and you pick for him, and you do the things for him, and I signed a contract that day.
Right.
He liked it so much, and he gave me the opportunity to develop there. And I didn't play the first year, and then I played 7 games, I think, and
Hmm.
then I got picked up by Montreal the next year. So it was a kind of wild kind of ride. Like I really didn't make it in Toronto. I tried, and you don't give up. This is when you don't give up on your dreams, right? You continue and you push, and good things will happen if you put in the work. So
Right.
It was pretty
Now
awesome.
you played for a bunch of teams: Rochester, Buffalo, Arizona, Philadelphia, the Rock near the end of it, back to Philadelphia,
Yeah.
Montreal. Did you have a favorite destination of all of those, where it just clicked for you? You just felt
Um,
that this is home.
I think it's Montreal, right? I think that's where everything sort of clicked for me, right?
Right.
I think that was 2002, was it not? Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
The 1 year of existence.
yeah, like I can't like that team. I don't know. Yeah, that team was just a special team. Um, and I got coached by a legendary coach and Coach Anderson right there, and he, I played everything there. I I played man up, face off, man down, transition, played defense. Like I just did everything that year. Sort of a Swiss Army knife. Me and kind of Bruce Codd on the left side, sort of did a lot of the everything on that team, and and that's where it sort of really grew as a player and really developed into something that would go on for the next 8 or 9 years for me. But
Right.
you know, playing in Montreal, such a special town. We had lots of late nights, lots of awesome trips. We took the Via train down and back, and everyone was on it, and it was very special group and a special year there. And the fans were kind of nuts there too. Like they had guys in Jason masks, like the Jason mask and stuff, and they had like big posters and stuff like that. And they were into it, and it was
Right.
it was a it was well run, and playing in the Bell Center there, it was a great time. I really loved that year, and too bad we couldn't stay. I think we had something going there. We just missed the playoffs by percentage points there. The last game of the year we lost to Albany. I think that's they got in or something. So it was great. So yeah, Montreal is probably the best year, but the best time I think was with Buffalo for me for sure.
Right.
Um, but that Montreal year was pretty cool.
Well, a funny thing is that over COVID, Bill Fox he gave me his entire VHS collection of mill
Oh,
games, and up until when he retired around 2010. Also have his jerseys and jackets and that stuff too. But I have been over the last number of years transforming them from VHS tapes onto our All Lacrosse YouTube page. And there's a number of games, of course, with you in there. And I believe there's one Montreal Express game in there as well.
mhm.
So if you're looking to try and find yesteryear, you go to our YouTube page, and I've got about 40 of the games up there. I still have probably 60 or 70
Awesome.
games to turn around in here. But yeah, that's right in the heart of your career through that 10
Yeah,
years span that
yeah,
all those things are there.
yeah. That Montreal year, I led the team in penalty minutes with 62. I fought all the time that year. It was all crazy, crazy year.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I actually looked at the Philadelphia years when you were in there, going in and out and back in again, because the teams there, even though Philadelphia wasn't winning, the teams that you had with you were pretty amazing teams of Americans, and then a mixture of both.
Hmm.
Your second time around, 2010, and
Yeah.
I look at that and it's like, wow, the teams that you played on and that you added to are pretty incredible all the way through.
Yeah, I listen. I've been blessed with my career for sure. I've definitely been blessed. Being able to play again, like I said, playing with Junior to start my career, then obviously playing with John Tavares for 6, 7 years, playing with Tracy in Montreal and Ted Dowling. Playing with Ethan Iannucci in Philly,
Hmm.
and learning and playing with a young Merrick Thompson who was phenomenal with his time there, and then with Toronto, it was a fun time as well. Like I've been blessed. I can't say enough for a guy. Again, I was an average player, but I made the most of what I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest, strongest, but I did play the game in a certain way that helped every team. I hope I did, and I
Well, you
can't.
you had the right size, at 5'11", about 200 pounds, and nobody can measure the heart of a man. and the heart makes up for not being 6'6".
Yeah, I left everything
Yeah,
on the floor every time
that's
I
the point
played.
again.
That's for sure. I have a compete level that's pretty high, and to do what I did with the dirty work with the pick and roll, I didn't want the ball. I went and picked for some phenomenal Hall of Fame players,
Mm-hmm.
and I was rewarded with passes and stuff from them, and I wouldn't change it at all. I love doing that work. I love doing that grindy, in the middle, dirty kind of work. It made me feel, very very good doing that, and you know, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty successful doing it, and I love to do it. And, I would do it again.
yeah. Now it brings me on to summer ball, and to me, I love summer ball. I love the grittiness of it. I love the rough and tumble. I love the three periods and everything about the game. And of course, you had 4-man cups that you won, one with Brooklyn and 3 with Peterborough. Let's talk about your summer career and some of the teams that you were on, because you were in the heyday of Brooklyn. First off, where they haven't been able to recapture that, but I think they're close now. Gavin, what he's doing.
Mhm.
Let's talk about getting in there and playing with Brooklyn first off in the I believe it's the 2000 Man Cup.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy time. That 2000 Man Cup. Um, just the Man Cup was nuts. Um, it was the first one in a long time, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from that. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was like the first time, and we had like that team was full of. It was really an interesting mix. That team. It was a lot of veterans, like Paul St. John, Glenn Clark, or he wasn't that old, but yeah. So you know, and then we had younger guys going around as well. So the Fusco, Peroni, those guys, right? And then
Hmm.
you had Prouty, Williams, Gary Rosiski, myself, Toller, Cam Woods. Like it was a good mix of that young and old,
Yep.
and it worked that year. And we went on a nice run that year and made to the Man Cup. And that 4-game sweep was pretty interesting kind of thing because it was 15-13 every game, I do believe. Um, and every
Oh, I think we lost him for a second.
Oh, shit. I think we did.
We lost him. Oh my. Gonna have to. Well, as we go along here, he won with Brooklyn. He won on to Peterborough, and won 3-man cups with the Lakers. The first year that he was there, they lost to Victoria, but the next year they came back stronger and won. Um, I'm hoping that he's able to make it back to us, because I want to talk about his coaching career, because just after during this he started doing the coaching, and um, again between junior and NLL, it was quite the coaching career, all the way up to now working with Lacrosse Canada. So I'm going to see
Was
if I
he,
can.
was he the kind of coach like he was a player? Did he like the
Absolutely.
physical? His teams played physical. And
there I am back. Sorry, I
there,
don't know what
yeah,
happened.
we're just doing a little dance here, trying to
Yeah,
imagine
we're
what
just
you
talking
were
a little bit about
saying.
your career, and we're talking about, of course, Brooklyn and the couple of Man Cups in
Can you hear
Peterborough.
me?
Yep,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hear
we
you,
hear
Frank.
you. We hear you.
Are
Hello?
you good with us?
I don't. Maybe you can't hear us. Can you hear us? Unmute yourself.
Can you hear us now?
Hello? Can you
Hello.
hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. I don't know if you can hear us.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can hear you.
you can. I can't hear you
That's
for some
Check your
reason.
check
Here, I'll
your
put these out.
can you hear us now?
Hello. Testing.
Can you hear me
Welcome
now?
to
I can
technology.
still hear you. Can you hear us? You've muted yourself, Jay. You've
Hello?
Yeah,
Yep. Hi. Can you hear us?
we can hear you.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
Your speaker. Your speaker.
I don't know what's going on.
Speaker. Your speaker. We play charades here.
Microphone here. Yeah.
Your microphone's fine.
Holy moly.
Microphone good?
Mike fine. Mike fine. Mike fine.
I can't hear you at all.
Okay, let's try this.
I don't know what's going on.
All right, so
you got his number, Gary?
I do. Oh, I just lost him there. Hey, check. Yeah, I can hear you now. Why don't you try and go out and come back in, and see if it resets itself.
Make sure he hasn't silenced his speaker.
All right, so let's see when he comes back. We'll see. But anyways, his teams were exactly as he played, and with that kind of ferocity. That's him. And I'm hoping that we get this all back together again, that it works out well, because there's some terrific stories here.
Absolutely, and that kind of style leads to a lot of good stories, especially back in the day. He's back.
Oh, are we back?
We're back. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, no worries. No worries. The beauty of live TV. Isn't that one?
It's
all good. All good. It shows everybody how human we are.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Absolutely technically inept all of us are. So
that's okay.
I can push enter like anybody else. Anyways, we're talking about you're playing with Brooklyn and winning that Man Cup and with that team.
Yeah. It, like I said before, when we went off, it was Rob Blaisdell was one of the goalies, and so was Phil Weatherup. So Blazer started the first game and then got pulled, and then Phil went in, and then Phil started the second game, got pulled, and Blazer went in. They went back and forth for 3 games, and we won 15-13 each game that year, and then the fourth game we went out.
The gods just don't want this Brooklyn story out there. It's just wild. Anyways, when we do get him back, we're gonna jump into the Peterborough stuff. But yeah,
we're back in.
We're back in. The gods don't want to hear about the Brooklyn story, so let's talk about Peterborough. Let's talk about you lost the
guys
one.
Hear me again? No?
Yeah, we can hear you clear.
I can't hear you. That's the problem.
That is a problem. Let's try again. They're going out and coming in again.
All right, I'm gonna do this again.
We'll get it. We'll get it. Your elastic band ready, Frank, just in case?
Yeah.
We'll make it work one way or the other. We always do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so his style, here he is. We'll see if it works this time. Can you hear it this time?
Yeah, so what happens is I'm on my phone, so people phone, and it comes up, and then I lose you. I don't know.
Your phone's hijacking the sound.
Yeah, it is. And then it's like people keep following me. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's right. Put your phone on ignore.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to tell you.
I was telling Gary that my work computer doesn't. It's a school computer, right? So it doesn't allow me to get on stuff like this. It's blocked, right? And the firewall, I can't get on stuff like this. So
right. No worries. Anyways, let's move on to Peterborough. And you lose the first time 4-0 into the Shamrocks, and you come back a lot stronger, beating them, and then a couple more Man Cups with the Lakers.
Oh yeah, those teams were unbelievable teams. I can't believe I was part of those teams and part of the amount of talent and just pure lacrosse people that were there. It was such an amazing ride, that Peterborough Man Cups in those years. Um, Again, truly blessed to be able to get there. I was traded there um, just after I think 2002 or three in there. So, um, I had a great time there. Again,
Right.
it's all about the relationships and the people you meet, and those guys there are friends and buddies to this day. And every time we see each other, it's you talk about those times and how crazy they were, and especially being in Peterborough
Yeah.
and having that mem center just packed. What an experience! Every game, all the time, treated well, um, and just again, that was probably the most fun I've had in lacrosse for sure in my lifetime. Is those years in Peterborough.
Right. And forever a hero in Peterborough, because that city just loves its Lakers, and the city comes to a screeching halt the day of a game. And I love being up there daytime and just watching everything just kind of, crescendo into nighttime game.
Yeah, even the park, like the people that do the drive and doing the
Mhm.
parking, you high fiving them on the way in,
Yep.
and it's warm up. They're there. They're loud. They're on the glass, and you can see the young kids
Hmm.
watching, and again the older alumni watching as well from the press boxes and up there, and those are special teams. Those are special times, and being able to go to Man Cups consistently in those times, um, and even playing in those summer games, the 4 game series against Brampton, and those times,
Hmm.
and going out to Victoria, going out to Coquitlam, and having them come here playing New West, like such a special time in my life. And again, very grateful to be able to experience that, because a lot of players don't get to experience stuff like
Yep.
that, and I get to experience that kind of stuff, and again, truly blessed.
And while this is all going on, you start developing your coaching and you're coaching with the Gales. And we touched on this at the beginning of the show a little bit, but really, some of the things you won a couple of Founders Cups, but the one that stands out, of course, is the season where you went 20-0. Um, nothing says we are there than a
Yeah,
perfect season.
I think I went a couple of years 20. I think I went 3 years 20-0. I do believe, if I'm
That's
not
fantastic. That's
mistaken.
amazing.
Or it's one. I know 120 on a couple 19-1s. But yeah, 20-0.
Well,
It's
just to put it in perspective, you went 185, 30-5, um, being one of the top programs because of that.
yeah. Again, I can't express enough the timing of life, and the timing of where I was in my life, the timing of who was around and what was going in and getting brought into that system at that time.
Hmm.
Um, it was amazing. I had great great players, but we developed a system with the Warriors and us and stuff, that guys came to us for a year or two and then went up. And like I mean, guys like Shane Jackson, you know, Chad Tutton,
Hmm.
Curtis Knight, Mark Matthews played for me for a year. Zach Greer, like Zach Higgins, like they came and played and developed and went up, and we developed a system there, and a way to play, and a way you grow and get better and go to the next level. So, you know, they were they were well run. I think it started with Doug and the management and Peter Abentruk and those people, and it came down
Hmm.
to allowing us to do our job as well, though. So allowing us, to coach. Me and Doug had many and many of arguments, and many, many happy and times as well. But Doug let us do our job. We had sort of a, you worry about inside the boards and I'll worry about outside the boards, right? The management stuff. I didn't have to worry about
Right.
all that. And the GMing, I just coached, and I loved it. I still love it to this day. Um, but being able to hone my craft without anyone, or not any outside influences. And listen, I had some great people that helped me
Right.
on the bench and stuff. And it was a really special time, I think, in
Right.
those years, right? The Founders Cup years, the Minto years for the Warriors, it all sort of escalated, right?
Yeah.
In that wave in the early 2000s.
Right. Now, of course, you being a character player, I've always said that character is what wins cups. You can have all the best players in the world. When it comes time to the grind and the push, it's always character teams that win.
Yep.
And I think that you put your stamp on your teams by your style of play is your style of coaching.
Yeah, it's to me, it's character, it's compete, and it's IQ. If you have those three, you are pretty much unstoppable as a player.
Right.
Um, and there's always a hole to fill in one of those. Whether it's your being a character person, learning to be a professional, if it's your compete, learning how to compete at each level, and then the IQ of the game and the way you see the game. If you have all three of those, you're a special player, right? You're talking
Right.
about the Tavareses, the John Grants, the Gates, um, those guys, right? The Hall of Famers, the Jim Veltmans, like you're talking those guys, right?
Yeah.
And to get to that level, to that Mount Rushmore of those guys, you got to have a high level of all three of those. So your character, your compete, and your IQ that's pretty much the foundation to me as I'm picking players and looking at players from a coaching perspective.
Which one of those is the easiest? Not that any are easy, but which one are you willing to work on more than the other?
To work on in what way?
Well, you said there's three things that
Yeah,
you have three parts of a player
yeah,
that they need to be like a Tavares, right?
yeah,
Which
yes.
one of those three is the easiest for you as a coach to help with?
To help?
Yeah, to make
Um,
if one of them was lacking, which one would you hope it would be?
oh well, the compete is compete, right? You're either a compete guy or not. Like you want that loose ball or not. It's a simple, right? The
Right.
character piece I think is a piece where how you treat your teammates and how you communicate, right? I think it's the IQ is the hardest to get because that's what the difference between the good player, the great players and the average players, right? Is that IQ and seeing the game. So you're talking about who's the best player in today's game. You can talk Jeff T, right? You can talk Curtis Dixon. You can talk Ball right now. You can talk Cody Jamieson when he was younger, a little younger, right? It's the
Yep. Yep.
IQ. I think it's the IQ where those guys just see the game differently, and that's the biggest jump to get to that level is the
A,
IQ. I think.
a lot of in sports, it's common knowledge, at least to me when I listen, it's common knowledge that when you draft a player, you're trying to draft talent, but you got to believe those other two. If they're not with them now, you can build it within them.
Yeah, like that. Like that's why NFL and NHL guys have meetings before drafts, right? You're
Yeah.
looking at the character of the kid. Um, where does he come from? What does he do? How does he treat his parents? So on and
Hmm.
so forth. And then from there, it's just trying to get the best out of them and learning, right? And you never stop learning. That's why the IQ piece is the biggest. You never
Right.
stop learning. Like the amount of stuff I learned from Jeff Teat last 4 years is unbelievable. It's I just like okay, that's I never thought of that, and I've been in the game for 20 something years.
Right.
Like okay, that's amazing. I love that. Right? It's great.
Yeah. Now, how did it come about that you got back in to the NLL working with Ladouceur with originally the Riptide and then, of course, Ottawa?
Um, it's just again, I finished playing in like 2011, I think, NLL, and then I was coaching and doing different stuff here and there, and I was with Brooklyn there for a while doing the head coaching job and all that, and me and Laddie go back way back to junior days in
Right.
Whitby. We also go back to our Man Cup in 2000, playing major together, and just knowing him as a person, and him and Jimmy sort of phoned me up and said, you know, would you like to do this? And of course, I had to ask my family, um, uh, you know, how or why or whether this was a good opportunity, and obviously it was a yes, and um, I got hooked up through them, and knowing Laddie and knowing Jimmy for a long time, playing against Jimmy for a long time. I played with Jimmy in Ajax Pickering one year,
Mhm.
so I got to know him personally that year. So again, relationships, right? Relationships, and this sport is a big sport, but it's a small sport as well. So um, when you're up in the higher echelon of the sport, you know a lot of people. So
Right.
and that's basically how it went. It was just a summer day in July. Really, I was sitting outside in the backyard, honestly. I got the
Nice.
call and just had a conversation.
That's great. Now, of course, you worked with Team Israel as well, and that, of course, your Brad MacArthur hookup. Talk
Yeah.
about building that program and working with that program because that's not your everyday program.
Um, yeah. So that program I think would be one of my most satisfying programs for sure. Doing it with a very good friend of mine, Brad.
Hmm.
Um, we took that from nothing and made it into, a team that's fourth, fifth in the country, in the world at box lacrosse, and it was so joyful to watch, them learn the game and keep learning the game now. And we've done a very good job of teaching the guys right now, like Jake Silverlook and Seth Mahler and those guys, to build it even more in Israel right now. So um, very special. I love all those guys, and it was crazy times too as well, trying to get it all together.
Right, right. Now, I want to get a little bit of the State of Union out of you. And with Olympics down the road, just a
Yeah.
couple of years, sixes. First off, what's your thoughts on sixes?
It's interesting. It's very interesting. I know that when you ask people, they either love it or they hate it. I don't know if there's anyone in between that says, "Well, it's okay." It's you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah,
I I love it. I like it. I like the back and forth kind of game. It's so fast. It's so yeah. There's lots of goals. Okay, there's lots of goals. Like it's like okay, so basketballs. There's lots of points too, right?
right.
Um, it's just such a unique way to go about it. I feel for the goalies, obviously, right?
Sure.
Maybe a little smaller net, but they take a beating, those goalies. But just the game back and forth, you're again, it's Olympic sport. The Olympics are inclusion for everyone, right? So
Mhm.
you're trying to get as many countries involved, right? And you can make it as affordable as you can. And the Olympics are about grandiose kind of crazy stuff, right? Sometimes. So I like it. It's kind of fun to watch, and to
My
watch the best players in the world play it.
mhm.
It's pretty crazy.
my only concern is if these guys have an exit strategy. It's one thing to have this great tournament for a couple of weeks where you have
Mhm.
280, 300 countries watching.
Yep.
But if you don't have an exit strategy on what to do afterwards, 3 weeks down the road, oh, that was wonderful. And then we get on to life and we didn't
Yep.
move it. We didn't move the
Yep.
bar. We have an
Yep.
opportunity to get out of floor 3 or 4 and hit the penthouse. And I'm really hoping that between the Rabels and PLL and the NLL and Fruit, that they have some form of exit strategy that they can build, market it, that all
Yep.
these other countries want to jump in.
Yeah, I know they're doing it at Team Canada. I'm on the Team Canada U15 head coach this year, so we're
Hmm.
doing a sixes event in Oshawa with the Haudenosaunee and Team USA. So it's starting in a young. They're starting to develop that part of the game, that sixes part. I know we did it last year as well. We did it with the Team USA and the U9. I know my son, who was on the U19 Team Canada team, he played
Right.
it, and it's being driven in a little bit in the younger ages right now. So how it does in the pros and the adults, again, I think you have a legit concern there that okay, so after it's done, are we continuing doing a world championship? Are we continue doing something with it? It's just another different type of lacrosse that is not field or box. So Yeah, you do have concerns there. I do agree with you there.
And Doug brought up an interesting point when we were in Prague talking, and it was that's going to be the thing that Lacrosse Canada and probably U.S. Boxing and the rest of it put their time and energy behind, and it will become the number one thing that everybody is doing, leaving the other sports, field and box, kind of off to the side. You get the same idea?
Um,
Where their energies
yes
is
and no.
yeah.
Yes and no. I think it's up for debate. We'll see, right? You can put your effort into a lot of different things, not just one. I think, but does have a point. Like, okay, so if it's Olympics and that is the pinnacle of what you want to do, it will take some time to kind of mesh it into what we're doing because I don't think we should lose the field. I don't think we should lose the box either. Um,
Right,
if we can mesh that in to both of those, I think that's the best. That's the best avenue.
right. What excites you most about where lacrosse is headed?
Excites me about what
Yeah,
it's headed.
yeah,
I think being able to play for a gold medal. I know I've talked to Jeff multiple times about
hmm,
he's like a gold medal's a gold medal. Like how many
yeah,
people in the world have gold medals, right? I think that's a
absolutely.
big focus for lacrosse people in the world lacrosse. You get to hand out the first ever gold medal in that sport, right? And to have that is pretty special, right? So I think that's where it's at.
Right. Well, with this, what do you think needs to happen for lacrosse truly to explode globally?
That's a tough one. I think that'd take a lot of thinking on this one to ex- explode globally.
Yeah,
Um,
like we're
like this
already
will
in
help.
African
Like
countries
like
and
this
things.
will help for sure. But again, getting the sport out to the world, and it's always been one of the problems is getting it to places where they don't play it, right? And to keep it going, I think that's a lot of the good things. You can start it, but to keep it going year after year after year, I think that is the problem lacrosse has a little bit is it kind of fades sometimes,
Yeah,
um,
We
because
get
there's
that point here.
yeah because
Yeah.
there's no one there's only so many people that have the ability to do it because it again we all know lacrosse is not a money making operation, so you got to put time and effort into it, then you got to love it to do it enough to not get rich off it and just do it because you love it. I think
yeah.
that's where a lot of lacrosse comes to a halt. Is that certain people do it enough, and then who's going to take it after that,
Totally agree. I
right?
guess if I were to put a slant on what you're saying, essentially, it's the Olympics is an opportunity. With that opportunity comes a responsibility. The
Yes.
responsibility is for the people that are in lacrosse to take advantage of the people's whose interest all of a sudden explodes because all of a sudden they see this new sport. Gary and I always talk to all our guests about this. This is where we always end up, Gary, where lacrosse has to be ready for
Yeah.
the speed bump of people that are going to show up in that moment. And can lacrosse take advantage of that new interest that comes because of the Olympics?
I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. And I
Right.
think it's starting with the national team development program and going from there. I think we're starting to kind of get that involved in their brains right now and to keep it going.
We got a number of people talking about, tradition and we have to keep this and the other. What needs to evolve for it to really grab hold and move forward? Because, it's one thing we can always teach tradition once we get the ice,
Hmm.
but evolution is how we're going to move this thing forward, I think.
Yeah, I guess again. I've always heard this that once the cross gets in you, it never gets out of you, right? So it's just trying.
Exactly right.
It's trying to get that evolution of trying to get these countries and people around the world to see it, experience it, and then that love of it gets in you and it never leaves, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what you have to. I think that's an answer that a lot of people say, right? But it's the execution of that is the hardest part. It's
That's what
that's
we've learned that internationally because of the interest that gets heightened. And there's two negatives that happen, in my opinion, that what I've learned from talking to folks like you and other lacrosse experts, that the challenge is, if you go to a new community, do they have a place, a venue to play? And then the one that really surprises people is access to equipment. We talk about that with the ladies as well, ensuring that they have the equipment to further their interest in the game of lacrosse. And that happens in new countries as well. That's along with the Olympics. You can hold that one in hand with the Olympics. It's about equipment also, getting a hold of it. And there's a lot of people, we've interviewed them here, Gary, friends of yours and acquaintances that spend a lot of effort, and I think even money and time, to try and make sure that anybody who wants to play the game has the equipment to do so, because that's another challenge. The venues, the equipment. Once you get interested, this is the main challenge that lacrosse has in growing, is being prepared for interest when it shows up. You talked about it, and almost everybody that we talk to, the interest in the game is sparked. What gets you in the game is the opportunity to actually exercise, even at the minimum of having a stick and bouncing it off a wall. Mm-hmm. So it's all about taking advantage of the interest that's out there.
Couldn't agree with you more, sir. Couldn't agree with you more.
How do you want the game, and how do you want all of us to remember you as a player and as a coach?
Oh, geez. It's a tough one to kind of talk about yourself, but just that I was a good teammate, and I would do anything for anyone of my team. I played the game right. I played the game hard. I was an intelligent player that used what limited skill and size and stuff that I had to get the best out of everything I had. And as a coach, just that I was there for whatever they needed, and to see the kids that went through my programs, that I gave it everything that I could for them, and anything they needed, I tried to solve for them. But it's just, I don't really think of it that way. I just, again, was blessed and grateful to do what I did, and hopefully some of it rubbed off on some people, and it was a very positive experience is what we're trying to get at here.
Absolutely. I really want to thank you for letting us pick your brain and bringing up some of the older stories and some of the newer ones as well, and seeing all the stuff you're doing, especially now even with Lacrosse Canada, and help building what I think is going to be a great ramp up over the next number of years to really get this game, first and foremost, to be that number 4 that we could be talking about. And I think we really have the right people in the right spots now that we can really grow.
Agreed. And I want to thank you guys for having me on. This has been a great experience. I love talking lacrosse anytime. It's fun.
Well, Gary was right. We talked to the right guy. Another addition to our education in the game of lacrosse. And I think the one thing we didn't talk, I'm disappointed that we didn't get a chance to talk, for you to show us how to hold a stick when you cross-check a guy. I'm really disappointed we didn't get to that point. We'll have to save that for the next show.
Yeah, save that for the next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this, Jason.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
And to talk to you about the game. It's just a great thing. All right. He's Gary Groob. I'm Candid Frank, and that's Jason Crosbie. And we really appreciate you being here. And for those of you that love this show, it'll be back again on Thursday at 4:00. And for those of you that have never picked up a lacrosse stick, shame on you. Next time you get a chance, pick one up. And as I said, all it takes is a lacrosse ball, a stick, and a wall, and you can get the bug. It really does get you.
My pleasure, guys.